We live in this world that's just obsessed with being busy. It feels like a constant race against the clock, right? But what's the hidden cost of all this relentless hustle? Today, we're going to break down our culture's addiction to busyness and really uncover the price we're all paying.
I mean, we've all been there. This little exchange is basically the modern day handshake, isn't it? It's so common, we don't even really think about what we're saying anymore.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet it does. It's the default response for so many of us. But have you ever just stopped and wondered, why? Why is busy our go-to answer for how we are?
Well, deep down, we've created a culture that basically says being busy equals being important. The unspoken message is, I'm busy, so I must be valuable. I must be worthy. You know, if you're not totally swamped, it can feel like you just don't matter. But what if that's all just a dangerous illusion?
So what happens when this cultural pressure builds into something more serious? Let's dig into the idea that for a lot of people, this isn't just a habit, it's a full-blown addiction. And researcher Brené Brown, she just nails it. She argues that if they had 12-step meetings for busyaholics, they'd have to rent out stadiums. Now, the key word here is numbing. Busyness isn't always about getting things done. A lot of the time, it's a strategy to avoid feeling. And that's exactly what numbing means here. Busyness becomes our armor, our shield. It's a way to just keep moving, full steam ahead, so we don't have to slow down and face the difficult, uncomfortable, or vulnerable truths that might be waiting for us in those quiet moments.
So, what are we trying to numb ourselves from? As Dr. Lissa Rankin points out, when we finally step off that hamster wheel, we're forced to confront what's really going on. Maybe it's a marriage that's struggling, or realizing we're missing our kids' best moments. It could be a deep fear of just being ordinary, or that feeling that we're only worthy if we're constantly overachieving. Maybe it's loneliness, or even just the raw discomfort of being bored. Busyness keeps all of that at a safe distance, distracting us from the real work we might need to do on ourselves.
Okay, so that's the psychological why behind all this. Now let's switch gears and get into the science, the biological how. What exactly is this constant pressure doing to our bodies and our brains? There's actually a term for this whole state of being, hurry sickness. Now, it's not a formal diagnosis you'd get from a doctor, but it perfectly describes that chronic feeling of being short on time, always rushing, and just never being able to truly relax. And here's the problem. When you're always rushed, your brain starts to treat everyday tasks like they're life or death emergencies. It floods your body with stress hormones, basically locking you into a permanent fight or flight mode, a survival setting that was never, ever meant to be your default. And look, this isn't just a feeling. The science absolutely backs this up. A huge study found that chronic time pressure is a major predictor of depression, anxiety, and stress. It can account for almost a quarter of the reason people experience these symptoms. So this has real, measurable, and pretty negative consequences for our health. So let's dig into those consequences a little deeper. This state of constant haste doesn't just mess with our health. It fundamentally changes how we think and the kinds of choices we make every single day. It's like this. When your brain feels like time is running out, your thinking literally narrows. You get a kind of tunnel vision that's only focused on the most urgent thing right in front of your face, and it's usually at the expense of your long-term goals and your overall well-being. So there's this fascinating idea called intertemporal choice. Under pressure, our brain's emotional hot system just takes over. We get way more impulsive, and we start preferring a smaller, right-now reward over a bigger one that we'd have to wait for. Think about choosing a fast food dinner instead of cooking a healthy meal just because you're exhausted and can't think long-term. We're literally trading our future well-being for a little bit of relief in the moment. And if you feel this way, you are definitely not alone. I mean, not even close. In a massive survey of 2.5 million Americans, a staggering 80% said they don't have enough time to do what they want or need to do. And this isn't just some personal failing. It's fueled by economic pressures and this 24/7 digital world that's constantly blurring the lines between work and life, making real downtime feel like a total luxury. Okay, so the problem is huge, it's widespread, and it's doing real damage. But, and this is a big but, it's not a hopeless situation. The good news is we can learn to break the cycle. So let's look at how we can start taking back control of our time. Research points to this really powerful 3-step game plan, and it goes way beyond just making better to-do lists. It's about addressing the root causes, how we see our time, how we ground ourselves in the present, and how we reconnect with what actually matters. All right, let's talk about step 1, control. Now, the real magic here is that you don't actually have to control every single minute of your day. Studies show that just creating a sense of control is enough to dramatically lower your anxiety. This could be something as simple as planning your week on a Sunday night, or setting just 3 main priorities for the day, or even scheduling do-nothing time right into your calendar. These small acts create this powerful buffer against that feeling of being totally overwhelmed. And that brings us to the final step, nourishing your spirit. This is all about swapping out those numbing behaviors we talked about with things that are true self-care. Brené Brown suggests asking yourself these 2 really powerful questions before you act. Is scrolling on my phone for an hour actually making me feel better, or is it just a way to avoid the quiet? Is working late really leading to fulfillment, or is it just another distraction? The goal here is to make conscious choices that genuinely feed your soul, not just fill up the time. And so here we are, right back where we started. Breaking our addiction to busyness isn't about better time management, it's about a much deeper self-awareness. Taking a really honest look at what you might be hiding behind that to-do list, that is the first and most important step toward a calmer, more fulfilling life. The real question isn't, what did I get done today? It's, what did I avoid?